afternoon, and welcome once again to Gaming Under the Influence. I'm Mike here with Alex, coming to you from home once again, actually, under the GreenDragonCVR brand to talk to you about fucking video games while enjoying a couple of brewskis and maybe a little bit of something else. What are you drinking today, man?
I got a raspberry kettle sour. I can't remember which brewery this is from, though, to be honest.
I'm from the George in Newmarket.
Is that the one?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a nice one. It's tasty.
It's delicious. Very fucking.
It's tart.
It's very tart, but it's pretty sweet. Like it's nice, right?
Very drinkable. Yeah, Kool-Aid-y.
Yeah. It's adult like Kool-Aid.
Yeah, man. I got this fresh IPA from Nickelbrook. It was just canned yesterday, actually, or rather 2 days ago on the 25th. It's called Frosty Palms. Fucking IPA. I don't know. It's got this cool like motel vibe on the front. It says no vacancy, motel and beer bar. High quality beer, low quality guests.
Nice.
Yeah. Sounds about right. It's good. Sick. It's very easy drinking, actually. It's 6%, but it tastes like it almost tastes like a session IPA, like in a good way. It's drinkable, you know?
Nice.
Yeah, man, it's pretty cool. And it's been, once again, at least on my end, I haven't been gaming too much this week, but I've been fucking spending a lot of time thinking about games and
how can
watching
you not?
About games.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. We've seen like 3 presentations in the last week or so.
Mm-hmm.
We have the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, man, some pretty important stuff, actually. Laying out the future of most of the big companies. The only fucking people whose hand we're not aware of, at least in Q1 and 2, is Microsoft, if they have a hand to play at all.
Yeah, that's just it, though. What would they have, right? We don't know yet, but
I'm not sure. Yeah, but you know, we do have some sense of what's going to be going on with with Switch and PS5 in the coming months, and at least I'm pretty stoked about some of that. What about you, man?
Oh fuck, I'm definitely excited with what Nintendo first came out with, and then they had 2, because they had the Nintendo Direct and then the Pokemon Direct. So the Nintendo Direct was more, Zelda focused, and that got me going right away. And then Sony had their thing, which, we talked about. I was disappointed a little bit, but then watching it again, It came around, and then bam, fucking Pokemon 2, which for some reason always hits me differently. Like the Pokemon ones hype me, even though I know like the stuff they showed, that's just it. But the stuff they showed, is nothing near some of the shit that Sony had, which we'll get into. But
it depends,
it's just,
right? But
just for me personally, it fucking.
Anybody to say it's not equivalent, right? Like,
yeah. So I've had Pokemon brain for the last day, I guess. Yeah,
sure.
Last 24 hours.
Have you gone back to any of them in the last 24 hours?
I had the intention of booting up Platinum, which is the 3rd version of Diamond Pearl.
Yeah.
Which they just announced the remakes, right? So, but like, I don't know if I'll actually play it.
Why now, right?
Yeah, like I booted up, I ran around. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna play the same game, but the remake, right? Late 2021. So
I'm not so sure about that either. We did see some other cool stuff on their fucking stream. Actually, how do you want to approach this? You want to just why don't we start off by you talking about Pokemon? I don't think we should really turn it into something about Sony or Nintendo's presentations. Let's just
get straight into Pokemon. I'm down. I mean, pretty much Pokemon opened with what was heavily rumored. They the next games in line were Diamond and Pearl. Yeah. So they would be, next one in line for the remake treatment. And it was weird to see what they did, because I put up footage of the trailer now. They kept a faithful, like, same art style, or rather top-down graphics with, like, just updated visuals and updated, art style. But typically what they do is they use the current game's graphics engine to remake or remaster the old games, right? Mm-hmm. So they didn't go that far with this and bring it into, like, the Sword and Shield, sort of third person kind of a larger, style of fucking game. But I like it. It's faithful to the originals. It's top down. It's like what you would expect for a handheld Pokemon title. Sort of how they did like Link's Awakening as like one of the 2D like handheld Zelda games, right?
Yeah, I feel you.
So in any case, I'm definitely fucking excited for that.
So these are for the remakes you're discussing right now.
This is the
Not
remake.
Necessarily the. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. So the remakes are just going to be faithful recreations of Diamond and Pearl, even at your perspective.
It's cool that this is one of the older Pokemon titles that will be playable, ported or remastered kind of thing, upgraded on current hardware, right?
It's interesting to see them taking that approach too, with just the graphics and stuff.
Another thing, I didn't even consider was it's weird too, because it's like they're regressing on, the Switch introduced things like overworld Pokemon, right? You see them on the overworld. It's less like random battle, and this totally is reverting back, right? So like, it's kind of interesting to see that, right? That
what it makes
for the last couple of games,
is running their parallel RE projects. Like they got like 7 and 8 going in a new direction, and then you got like 3 and fucking 2 that are more traditional entries, right?
See, that was different back in the day when Nintendo would have had 2 different consoles, right? So the handhelds would have gotten these games, and then your home console would have gotten the other ones. But now, how do you do it, right? I'm just glad that these games haven't died out. Like they're still putting on, like Link's Awakening, which was sort of like a 2D Zelda, and same for this game now. It's more top down. It's faithful to the old handheld styles that I think still deserve to exist. I like them, right? So
I think it's really cool that
fucking excited.
I don't know, like it's easy to be cynical about these kinds of things, and like often I am cynical about everything.
Yeah, of course.
I'm not trying to downplay the value of that. I endorse it wholeheartedly, but at the same time, like it's easy to look at it with cynicism because more often than not it's just fucking something fucking eating itself and shitting it back out when you see this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, that's
the Microsoftization of a brand, so that's why probably people react the way they do. But at the same time, it's really cool to see something new emerge through the old, like an egg or like a skin, right? Like that movie Alien where the guy's fucking eating dinner at the table and he fucking lies down and just rips out of him, If like that's what's happening with the old stuff, it's giving birth to something new, like that's fucking sick, right? And I'm trying to make the case that like, Nintendo even doing this kind of thing is a new fucking approach to game design, and them making a game that most players of Pokemon have never even played before, I'm sure, right? Because they weren't even born,
Yeah, if you think about it, it was fucking, I think 15 years ago or
when
some
I played
shit.
that game, dude.
Yeah, we were in high school when Diamond and Pearl came out. It was a long time ago.
What?
Wow. That's sick though. I'm fucking down to play it again on the Switch. I'm always
like
down.
It's definitely like a nostalgia trip, but at the same time, it's introducing like fucking, almost like revivalist mechanics that fucking generation of Pokemon players probably never seen before, right? Like the random battles you just mentioned,
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I like that it keeps stuff like that alive. You know what I mean? I don't think we should abandon random battles with no overworld Pokemon just because there's a different way to do it as well, right? Like it's nice to see them on the overworld too, but
yeah, I mean, sometimes it's hard to tell, like with stuff like that, where fucking technological fucking like advancement begins and where
yeah,
and where
for
fucking...
me, it's all based on whatever art style like you want it, art decision, direction, whatever that you want to make in your specific game, right? I don't think it's like applicable across the board to say we can't have random battles because we have it better now, right? Anyway.
No, I don't think so either. It does have a place, of course, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe in some cases it constitutes something regressive and that you should move away from, but I don't think it's universally the case. And at the end of the day, like as long as fucking there's more than what one game can possibly depict or represent, especially in terms of its convention or perspective, then there needs to be multiple ways to do it, right?
Yeah.
That's why there's many kinds of animals in the universe, etc., right? Like difference doesn't need a fucking explanation. It's its own justification, It's just the way things are. Yeah.
The fucking fucked up thing is, and then we can move on after this, is that wasn't the only announcement they had. So that was like heavily rumored to be the next title, right? The next whatever mainstream Pokemon game, because it was the next ones in line for a remake, and they usually do it in between years of big releases. So they did Sword and Shield, they did the DLC. Anyways, aside from that, they announced a new game, which I'm a little bit skeptical of course, because it's called a Pokemon open world RPG game. How that differs from what we're already playing, I don't know. But anyway,
I don't know either.
It's a prequel in Sinnoh, and I think I read a little bit about it. Basically, that what it sounds like to me is it's like an origin story of like completing the first ever Pokedex. So it's I think it's gonna be less story heavy and more like just going out there and like capturing Pokemon and shit. I think that's how it's gonna be.
Is it gonna be turn-based still?
It'll still have turn-based battles, but they're not like, instead of like going into a separate battle screen, it all just kind of happens on the Like in the fucking overworld, you naturally pull out a Pokeball, throw it. I think from what I'm gathering is that's how it sounds, is that you throw out your Pokemon and all the battles happen just like real time right in front of. It's still turn based, but it doesn't just go into a separate battle screen. And I heard, I don't know if it's true or not, that even like your trainer can take damage. Like it's gonna be very different from the sounds of it.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I'm down to see what that works out as. Fuck, why not?
Yeah, like, so from basically what I'm hearing is that it might not be like, not that Pokemon games have heavy story, but it might be even more stripped down.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like Death Stranding Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Like it's, maybe I'm being too ambitious there, but.
Yeah, I wonder how that is going to play out. It's a truly curious fucking thing.
Yeah, it's interesting just in the sense that they've never really done something like this before, I don't think. So it's cool to see like a new direction coming out here.
It reminds me of like those, I don't know, like Pokemon Stadium or that one on GameCube, the adventure game, right?
Yeah, maybe it's something like that actually.
Yeah.
Which I haven't played, but I've heard is fantastic. Pokemon Legends Arceus, that's what it's called. And the fucked up thing is, so the Diamond and Pearl remakes are slated for the end of this year, and that game is allegedly coming out early 2022, which to me sounds like it's just not gonna happen.
Yeah,
I could be wrong. It just sounds too like close to each other, right? And the gameplay looked kind of rough. But anyway, we'll fucking see. That's
yeah, it did look rough.
That's later on. So yeah.
Well, you know, I have no idea what it is. I don't even.
Yeah, I told
other
you.
than what you told me, like I watched the trailer and I was like, what the fuck?
That's
I know now that you explained it to me, but like, yeah, it seemed really ambiguous.
I'll definitely report on that when we get our hands on it next year.
Yeah. I'm sure though it'll be fucking cool and worth checking out. Games like that can be difficult to communicate the purpose of them with a trailer like that, you know?
Yeah.
Most of it probably escapes you. Like, how can you give a deep explanation of the purpose of anything, or even what the systems are, or like what the concept is?
That's also why I think it's like too early. Like they showed it, but like I think it's like I can't see it coming out, you know, early 2022. I'm thinking it'll get delayed to later on in the year. And if that's what it needs, then take your fucking time and polish it up, make it good, right? You know?
Yeah.
Rather than rushing it out the door early next year. Fuck that. I can wait, right?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I wonder who's developing it. Like, really, any of the inner workings of these games, they escape me.
Yeah.
Is it Pokemon Company?
Game Freak is doing this game, and there's another dev called Ilka that developed Pokemon Home, which is not a game, but they are doing the Diamond and Pearl remakes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, they're just remaking it. I don't know. Same.
But yeah, I think that's fucking. I think that's more than enough about Pokemon.
Very cool.
Sony had
there was a couple of other things on the Nintendo thing. I know we weren't going to go over it from the perspective of Nintendo v Sony, but did you want to mention any of those other titles before I talk about a couple of the ones from the recent presentation?
Not
Skyward
really. The Direct was. I think we already covered the Direct. I mean, we talked about Skyward and everything. We could probably move on from that. The Pokemon one was just yesterday, and then the Sony one was the day before, and I think that had more exciting stuff in my opinion.
Yeah, you know, that one
should get into.
I saw a couple that I was pretty stoked on, especially Returnal, which until now I don't know, I took it to be more procedurally generated and lacking in story than I would have fucking assumed after watching the current trailer, because here, like, it looks like it's a fairly involved fucking game when it comes to, like, you know, story and having a character with a fucking, you know, narrative tension to resolve and stuff like that, right? So I guess I'm stoked to see what the hell they're doing with it, man. The imagery automatically appeals to me, right? Like, I like this Gigarian, like, fucking alien-looking shit, right?
Yeah, it definitely looks crazy.
I like the concept of somebody stranded in a fucking monstrous, inhuman place and, you know, experiencing the consequences of melding with the outside, kind of, right? Like, all this stuff is cool. All the gameplay looks fun and arcadey and badass. I just, you know, hope it's got, like, some kind of, like, universe to fucking frame all that shit that makes it worth getting into from my perspective, right? Calls to mind, like, Mass Effect Andromeda. I know that game wasn't received well, but the combat was cool, right?
Yeah,
a lot of moving around and fucking flying and stuff, so...
Yeah, it looks really
excited
fast.
to play that, buddy. I wonder to what extent it's going to be procedural. Like, if you die, is it going to reset what? And, like, where does it put you back? You know what I mean? Is it going to be like what's called Dead Cells, where you start literally at the back of the game, or are you going to, I don't know,
I guess
be in a room that is rearranged or something more minimal, right? Like, we'll see in the near future. I hope it's not that the whole game actually restarts and that there's some like ongoing progress, because I really don't like that in procedural games when it feels like you start back at the beginning, right?
Yeah, fuck that.
And other than that, though, I enjoyed fucking watching a couple of the other games that they showed. Like, not least of all, there was fucking even a little bit of Deathloop. Like, I didn't really understand what that game was at first, and after watching the trailer, I was even more stoked on that like fucking retro futuristic like 60s aesthetics. I went to read about it a little bit, and we talked about it a little bit today before we started this video. But yeah, it looks it's gonna be like it looks cool. It's another one with procedural elements though, or like some kind of like repeatable parts. Maybe procedural is the wrong way to describe it, but where you die and you repeat segments of the game. And like, this always makes me apprehensive at first, but I do like Arcane, and the way they describe it, you're gonna have to fucking, each time you die, you're gonna have to figure out, it's like a puzzle, how to assassinate these 8 targets inside the current loop. And if you fucking fail at that, you have to restart, but you take what you learned and you can hopefully accomplish it next time. And the caveat is there's going to be another assassin in the world working against you that can be controlled by another player, or you can just have them run by AI in your game if you're by yourself, right?
That sounds so fucking interesting. Like, I don't even know how to...
It does sound cool,
Right? It sounds very different.
I want to see how that pans out, but I really hope it doesn't, lean too heavily into like these repeatable elements and like this,
like fucking some kind of Majora's Mask shit.
Yeah.
As much as I love Zelda games, I can never play fucking Majora's Mask. It's so fucking...
Why? Because of the time limit, or what happens in that one? I never played it.
It's just like, you have to complete all the shit within a period of time, but it doesn't like it. You can reset time, so certain things only happen during certain times of the day and stuff like that. And then if you go into a dungeon, you have to make sure you give yourself enough time in the 3 days to do it. You can slow down time. It's just really like, it's too much.
Yeah.
It's
a pain, eh?
Yeah. You need a fucking guide. Honestly, it would take you forever because it's just a lot.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about those kind of complications. I'm like much more partial to like fucking concerted, like, progressive world building in the sense of having parts that augment each other. Like, I don't like that wiping the slate clean. And
it's just too much. It's weird, but whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, this fucking Deathloop looks ridiculous. Like, it's hard to even put my finger on what it's, how it's gonna play. Like you said, if it's gonna be repeating the same segments, or if it's
Arcane style world, which they're always good at world building. It's always excellent.
Yeah.
And you're in there and you got to kill these 8 important people, and that's the game as they describe it. So I really am curious to see how it plays out. Beyond that, I can't offer anything except that I really like Arcane's world building. In all cases, it's fucking badass. And I really like the gameplay, that like fucking first person parkour melee combat. It's really cool. So.
Yeah, this looks like it has all that and the fucking cool setting.
Definitely does, yeah. So that's going to be awesome, man. And other than that, I also liked Kena, and I know you did too. Kena looks pretty cool.
Fuck yeah.
I know
that one stood out to me.
Studio. It's an indie game, technically, right? Even though it's being published by Studio.
I think so, yeah. I think it's just like, I heard like 15 people or something like that.
That's right, yeah. We were discussing it the day of the presentation there. It's very interesting
nuts.
as well.
Like, wow.
Yeah, right. It's got some more arcadey looking Souls-like combat, and there's even like some shooting elements involved. She's got magic here. It like apes something of a DreamWorks or Pixar movie with.
It looks like a Pixar movie. I was just gonna say,
I like the fucking the look and the way that it looks like it's gonna play. So that's another one to watch carefully. It's pretty cool for sure. And there was also something called Sifu by the guys who made Absolver. I don't know if you played Absolver, but it was like a.
I did not.
It was a brawler, like a fist fighting game. I played it very briefly, but it was cool for its combat. It was engaging combat. Something like, what's it called? For Honor. You know what they did with sword fighting in that game?
Oh, yeah.
Sort of like that, I guess.
Kind of like that,
obviously, like they want you to pay attention to fucking aspects of the fight that most games neglect to represent. So hopefully this will be pretty cool. It's called Sifu. Latest game from Slow Clap, team that made Absolver, fucking set to release in 2021. Check that one out too, man.
Yeah, it looks pretty
sick. I'm pretty stoked on that. And there was a new Oddworld game, but other than that it looks cool, I really have nothing to say about it,
Yeah, that one's a weird one for me because I've never played any of the Oddworlds, and while it does look like something I might enjoy, I just don't know if I'll have the time to pick it up in the midst of all the other shit we've been talking about. Maybe,
Yeah,
but
same.
I just don't think so right now.
Same,
But it
same.
does look cool, and that's exciting. That's an old franchise that's been around, so that's pretty sick.
It does, and the guys making it sounded like pretty confident in their vision, so I wouldn't be opposed to trying that out too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fucking
And
Sony, eh?
also there was at the fucking Sony presentation, just as a weird aside, I think it was fucking a Stubbs the Zombie remake announced. Isn't that fucked up?
Which one? Sorry?
Stubbs the Zombie, a remake, or was that at
Stubbs
the
the
Nintendo
Zombie?
presentation? I can't remember. Yeah, but Stubbs the Zombie, it's
don't
like
even
this game
remember.
made by Bungie back on the Xbox, and they're remastering it for current consoles, and that's fucking cool, man. Stubbs is a
Really?
great
I
game.
don't even remember seeing
I
that.
don't remember if that's on fucking Switch or PS5, but it's worth looking forward to in either case. From the Nintendo project, from the Nintendo presentation, excuse me, what I really enjoyed was fucking Project Triangle Strategy.
Yeah.
Despite my feeling that when I went to play the demo, that like the world was a little bit stunted and kind of like fucking, kind of one note, kind of like I don't like the word generic, but that's what it kind of struck me as. And aside from all that, like I really like the art and the concept of it,
Yeah, see what for me, like I'm not like gung ho crazy over the demo either, but I was the same. I had the same feeling with Octopath Traveler. I played one of their like early demos, and it did fucking absolutely nothing for me. And then the game came out, and I dumped over 100 hours into it. So I'm still like somewhat hopeful. Even like Bravely Default 2, I fucking played the demo and I didn't like it. Now that I'm playing the full game, I feel like I'm liking it more.
I need to still start that.
Which to me means that maybe they're just cocking up their demos, or I don't know, maybe it's me.
I think the aspects of those games that appeal to us are difficult to communicate in demos or trailers.
Yeah, because like fucking for some reason, like Bravely Default, they made the demo harder, and then like I was like, I just wasn't getting into it. And they plop you like for the Project Triangle one, they plop you like apparently at some point in the middle of what their planned story is.
Yeah.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, how do you fucking expect me to like engage in the fucking smack middle of this epic, fantasy? Like, what?
I feel you.
I don't know, but
Maybe there's more to it that'll fucking, make the world seem less like a fucking cardboard cutout. But
yeah,
that was my impression. Yeah, the gameplay and the fucking graphics are really cool, and if everything else fails, at least that'll be fucking interesting entry into the Switch's library. It's really like, despite what people are saying, become something of a fucking must-have console for JRPG lovers, isn't it?
Yeah, it seems that way for sure.
Yeah. Other than that, too, I fucking really enjoyed seeing fucking Monster Hunter Rise footage. I wasn't really convinced on that one at first. I was like, why don't I just go play World? But they're adding new monsters and fucking mechanics altogether. So, all of the nice stuff we say about Capcom all the time, I should give it a fucking shot.
Yeah, something about Rise makes me want to jump in and play it too, but it's in kind of another situation of we'll see in a month if I'll still be interested. Like, there's a lot of stuff coming up,
Yeah, I feel you, man.
So it might get sort of forgotten, but it does look interesting. It does look cool to me. I think I might. I mean, I didn't play as much of World as you did, but I think I might like the animated art styles better for these types of games. But I don't know. Maybe not.
One thing I never really played too much in the way of Monster Hunter except for World. But one thing I really enjoyed about it was the way that, there was like characters and stuff like that, but your character was a mute, and like all of the other characters were, pretty inconsequential. Like the star of the show is the fucking different ecosystems and the monsters that like kind of personify them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty sick.
That all the ecosystems like spring up around the monsters, or the monsters somehow are like the seed or instigator of those ecosystems. It's like a first principle, So there's this interesting like, it's almost like building a myth, the way that they do the environments in Monster Hunter World, right? It's like myth making informed by like modern fucking ecological science or something like that. It's fucking really interesting exercises. I like Monster Hunter. The gameplay is cool too. It's a nice mix of like, I don't know, it feels like Souls really at the end of the day. Souls without a lock on. Kind of slower, but yeah, man. The fights are very much like Souls fights, like these long, well, they're actually longer. That's the other thing. They're like long Souls fights. Overall, it's a cool game. I don't need to ramble on about it, but that's what I really like about Monster Hunter. And if there's going to be cool new fucking places to explore and monsters and shit, then
maybe it is worth fucking jumping into Rise then.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Capcom is a fucking good studio too. Their work is good, worth checking out.
It's funny, they just announced that it's coming to the PC too, which is
Monster
so
Hunter Rise.
random. Yeah,
Really?
it's so weird, right?
Yeah, it is. Strange. Cool though. That's good.
Yeah. Well,
That's really fucking. Oh, the last one I wanted to mention actually was Solar Ash from Heart Machine, the studio that fucking made Hyper Light Drifter, I think, in 2016.
yeah, that one
Just
looked
like
cool too.
Yeah, man, it looked like a mashup of like Gravity Rush and Hyper Light Drifter, like 3D Hyper Light Drifter, you know? Like, and they emphasized a lot that this is a game about movement in these giant, like fucking, you know, super colorful spaces and the empowering feel of like, you know.
Yeah, it gave me Journey
flowing
vibes
around
too,
the
because
environment.
like that on rails kind of like flying,
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
like surfing through the sand in Journey,
Yeah, that's right, for sure.
but like way more trippy and fucking nuts.
Yeah, that's of course the other cool thing. It's psychedelic as fuck, but like
Yeah.
the fact that it's movement focused, and the guy said in the game describing it that they are implementing combat, of course, but it's going to be very simplistic combat. Like the purpose of the game is to keep you like in this sense of perpetual motion and flow, you know? Like,
It's not gonna like stop you and force you into combat sections. It's sort of gonna be like natural, right? Like as you're surfing through like simple little things sprinkled in, little combat zones. Like that's cool.
It reminded me a bit of Ghost Runner, which I haven't played yet. I just received my physical copy today from PlayAsia, actually.
Oh, nice.
So I'm gonna check that shit out. Yeah,
I think I briefly tried a demo.
Yeah.
Yeah, I briefly tried a demo. I didn't play too much of it, but that is very like movement.
Yeah.
I guess movement based, where you don't stop and engage in combat. You have to like sort of perfectly take down your enemies, or else you die instantly. Like it's weird. It's strange. It's almost like I don't know how to parse it. Like fucking, it's you never played Celeste, but in the same way, that's like a 2D platformer that you just die and like instantly respawn. It's that, but there's like combat sections sprinkled in that you have to like almost perfect. It's almost like it becomes a rhythm game. I don't know how this one's gonna be, but that's what I felt about Ghost Runner by only playing like a 30-minute demo or something. Anyway, what did you get copies for? PlayStation?
I got one copy for PS4. Yeah.
PS4. Yeah, I didn't even know it came out for the consoles.
I only think it did in Japan. I had to like order it personally from Japan. You know.
Oh, you have to import it.
Yeah.
That's
cool
cool
shit, though, man.
Yeah.
Like having that. So fuck that's my take on all that stuff. You know, there was even other games that I didn't mention, but like fucking most of those are, you know, that's a pretty exciting year for me. Like some of those have potential to be truly astonishing in my opinion. If you couple that with the fact that Resident Evil 8 is coming out, there's also Outriders, and there is Biomutant as well. Those are other games I'm pretty fucking stoked for. Like for me, that could be a fucking pretty crazy year, buddy.
Yeah,
Resident Evil 8 could be game of the year.
We went from fucking, you know, things were like, kind of dry and whatever, to like, holy shit, now with like some fucking heavy hitters are on the horizon, right? And that a lot of that was, aside from the Pokemon stuff, a lot of that was just like early this year, right? Yeah. I think Sony specifically said like most of the titles they showed off were going to be in the first half of 2021. So the holiday season might be even more crazy. I think there's like it almost seems that a lot of the developers and publishers and everything are sort of holding on to their IPs and the games that are being made closer to release. Right, which kind of fucks them on like marketing time, because they don't have as much time to market their game. But at the same time, we've seen the detriment of like them announcing games so early, and then like people lose steam on it, right? Because like years go by and they don't hear about it. And it's like, what the fuck? I don't know if that's even important or a thing, but
I think it's a good fucking thing to bring up, though. Like, everybody's always complaining about that, at least in the fucking popular sphere. And maybe this, like, way of delivering information in the short-term injection, mode is, like, better for everybody, right?
Yeah. It's nice. We get a clear picture now of what we're going to be playing in the next couple months, and then we'll see what the second half of the year brings.
Exactly, yeah. That kind of stuff that's going to be available. It's also, and it's pretty good, man. Pretty exciting. We'll see how some of it turns out. I'm going to try and play some Bravely Default tonight, and...
Yes.
Let you know what I think of that.
I like it. I just got... you start off with 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Like job things. And I just got the next 2, which were the Mage, and I can't remember the other one. It was like a Vanguard or something. So I have 4 now.
Very cool.
And looking forward to fucking around. That's like a big thing for those games.
Yeah,
from what I remember, like
building,
just fucking around with the different jobs and unlocking different. It was cool shit.
Very good.
So I'm excited for Bravely Default 2. I'm gonna play a little bit tonight too.
Good shit, buddy. Well, all right, man. I'll fucking speak to you soon, and until then, everybody play your video games. Thank you very much, guys. Good talking to you, bro, and we'll chat soon, eh?
Fuck yeah, play video games.